Is that the reason why the 9B is a very high amount then?
Yeah, the 9B retention basin didn't change. So when the 9C subdivision was done, all the retention went to the same retention basin of 9B.
That makes sense. Mayor, I move to approve the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget in the amount of $626,578 for the Lighting and Retention Basin Assessment District.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the tentative budget for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Monica?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Pursuant to state statute, council is required to adopt a tentative budget to set the maximum expenditure limit for the next fiscal year. Upon adoption of that budget, council can reallocate expenditures or decrease budget, but we cannot increase it. We are also required that we need to publish the tentative budget in the local newspaper within the next 2 weeks, asking the public to submit their comments in the public hearing that is scheduled to take place on June 23rd. On April 16 and 17, we had a workshop that took place and where we presented to council a budget draft. In that occasion, we got input from council and recommendations. We got all those recommendations and we compiled them, and this is what is presented in the tentative budget tonight. The spreadsheet that you are seeing right now in the screen is a detail of the expenditures and revenues proposed for fiscal year 2022. For most expenditures, it's proposed an average increase of 8%. It's really conservative given that expenditures have not increased in the past 3 years. And when you see in the departments where you see significant or noticeable increase is mainly because of those departments are getting new positions. Contractual services has been increased, or the programs have been expanded. Can you keep going down, Sonia, please? On the same spreadsheet, but on the bottom, yes, so that we can keep going to that. So right here, on the general fund, you can see that we have a shortfall of about $5.8 million. Pretty much you're gonna be seeing through the presentation, you're gonna be seeing that most of the funds are ending in a shortfall. That is not of concern. That is what it's right now presenting, but part of the budget process is taking into consideration positive carryovers, which we have enough to cover those shortfalls, and they have given us the ability to do more next year than in other occasions. Can you continue going down? Right here we see the HERF fund, which is the same situation. We have a shortfall of $1.2 million. Pretty much that shortfall is mainly of the budget that we are allocating for the expansion of the Cesar Chavez Boulevard. We do have that amount in impact fees that are going to offset that shortfall. The next fund is the special revenue. In this fund, we record the revenue that is restricted. Usually, is mainly the grants. And for next fiscal year, we have a very attractive or a very good budget for that fund. We have $9.3 million, which include $4 million of the American Rescue Plan Act, and which all the grant budget that we are proposing for next year is $4 million more than what we did this year. You just keep going down. All of that is the same line item or same fund, but it's different. So there are grants in police, community development, and in last spreadsheet, you're going to be able to see different grants that we're going to be doing. Can you keep going down? Okay, that is our employee benefit trust. In this fund, we budget for the health care of our employees. We are projecting an 8% increase in this item. Okay, and this is the Community Facilities District. This is a rent that we receive from the Border Regional Health Clinic. Okay, in this page, we start with the enterprise funds. And again, in all the funds, we're gonna be the same story or the same narrative that I have mentioned. Most of the funds have shortfalls, but it's just, that means that we're just doing more because of the positive carryovers that we have from prior years. In the water, the shortfall is about $9,000. But pretty much the reserves that we have in that fund are more than that. So also we were very careful not to touch the reserves. So pretty much this just does available funds that we have to be able to make those expenditures. Can you go down? And the same thing, wastewater is, again, with a shortfall. And in fact, all the enterprises have shortfalls. All of them have positive carryovers with the exemption of the solid waste and the business incubator. Those two are the only enterprise funds that do not have enough positive carryovers. So we were not able to reduce those expenditures. There are very important projects, especially in the solid waste. We have the purchase of a solid waste truck that is very much needed for the growth of the city. So what we're doing, the general fund is supporting or backing up that fund in the meantime that it gets in a better position. And you can go down to the keep going. Keep going, because we realize that the ambulance, business center, and the detention facility is a separate component of the city, but for GAAP purposes, we are required to report it in our financial information. And this is the debt service fund. Pretty much in this fund, we budget for the long debt that we have, but only for the general fund. The long-term debt for the enterprise are booked within those funds. And can you go down? Down. Okay, these are the impact fees. This year, we created a separate fund for the impact fees that we want to put in place for next year's budget. This is for the objectives that being more transparent and to track better the expenditures. These are restricted revenues, so we're going to have better visibility on how we spend those monies. Also, within the enterprise funds, we created separate funds for the impact fees. And the assessment districts, which is the presentation that Rola just did, is the $626,578 that Rola just presented. So, so the bottom line is, well, I'm not going to be able to read those numbers, but I'm sure that you are able to see there is $94,976,387 is the tentative budget that we are proposing, and revenues are $84,429. $84
million.
$1,451.
Yeah, 84 million. You said.
Can you go to the next? The next one, that's schedule. There's several information, so okay, so this schedule is the official form that we are required to present in the newspaper. This is what the residents are gonna be looking at. This information is pretty much the same information that I just presented. It's just presented in a different format. And the only difference is that this schedule is considering the fund balances. So this takes into account the fund balances that we have. The other important feature or thing that this schedule has is that at the bottom, it requires us to calculate the exclusions that are not subject to the expenditure limitation. And at the bottom, you can see that the amount subject to expenditure limitation that we have for next year budget is $49.7 million, and our expenditure limitation is $54 million, which is about $4.3 million under. So that still leaves us leeway. I was very concerned during the budget process of going over that expenditure limitations. We put a lot of thought into the calculation. Several things do not go into that expenditure limitations, such grants, debt service. So upon completing the calculation, it was good to know that we still have some room to continue growing. Can you go to the last one. Okay, so I know that is a lot of information to take, a lot of numbers. So I wanted to put this slide just to summarize what I just presented. And in summary, the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget is $94,976,387 million. We have a balanced budget, which is required by a statute, and City of San Luis is committed to prudent fiscal practices. So we are setting aside reserves to maintain essential services for at least 6 months in the event of a major economic downturn. This is something that I explained during the budget retreat. Also, despite the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we are well positioned for recovery. Businesses are opening, life is returning to normalcy. The City of San Luis has opened completely. Overall, our budget looks promising. We have long-awaited projects that the community needs and are included in this budget. Can you go to that? And also in the next, right here in the next square, you can see a little bit of a summary of what is there and in a different format as to what I just presented. You can see how much it is for grants, operational. But the item that I want to bring your attention is that next year we have $17 million in capital projects included for next year. So what is included? I'm not going to go item by item. Many of these items, you were able to look at them during the budget retreat. These were presented by the staff. I just want to bring your attention to the items that were added after the budget retreat and that you did not see. In personnel, 1 full-time position for the senior center was added. And in the capital projects, the items that were added was the construction for the first phase of the police substation, which is some of the input that we got from council. Also, the expansion and design for the City Hall West Wing. That was intended to happen this year, but there were some delays with the, I think BLM, they needed some permission, so we needed to roll over that to next year. Also, we included matching funds for the bill grant for the Cesar Chavez Boulevard, and a street lining and F3 widening design. These are additional items that were not at the budget retreat and they were added after hearing to council's recommendations. So in a summary, that's all that is there. I am open for questions. This is the tentative budget that we are respectfully submitting to council for approval. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Monica, I have no questions. I think we've gone through it a lot, and I thank you and I thank your staff for everything you guys have done. It's been every year is a challenge, especially with the pandemic, and we've been very fortunate that businesses will now be opening. But the assistance by the federal government, the state, that's going to go away. So I think now the hard work is going to happen. But the good news is businesses are opening, and hopefully soon we will get the port of entry lift those restrictions also. So we start seeing the walk-in customers that our stores are needing. So thank you, Monica. I really appreciate the hard work you guys done, and good job. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
any questions or
Thank you.
comments from council?
Mayor, can I,
Yes, please.
Monica, can I get a copy of this, PowerPoint?
Sure, sure.
Anyone else?
Yes, Monica, how are we doing with the FEMA response as far as the COVID-19 emergency?
Not good.
Not yet?
Not good. With a FEMA, we have not been very successful. It has been a painful process. So far, if we have been reimbursed $20,000, I think that would be a lot. It has been for us is putting more resources than what we're getting. We're in the process to give it one more try, but if it takes too much, we are a small city, and putting so much resources to get that at one point is that we have to make that decision, and maybe it's not worth it. Since there are so many other grants that we can utilize.
Every city and community are applying for FEMA assistance. So it's their backlog. And the thing is, and it's understandable it's going to be, but what I hear is we are going to get some assistance, but it's going to take longer. It's probably going to take 2 years.
So it's just a matter of wait and see what happens?
I mean, we're going to continue. I mean,
Yeah.
like say, Monica, we're going to continue working, pero if we invest too much investment and we're not going to get reimbursed, no.
Yeah, the next step that we were thinking is involving legal. I know that some cities have done that, and that's the next step that we were going to try, like trying to get involved legal and see if they can
Yeah,
put some
so-
pressure into
But our
FEMA.
budget does not depend on FEMA. That's a good thing. Okay, so we don't depend on assistance from FEMA. If we get FEMA reimbursement, it's a good thing. But we're not gonna, our budget does not depend on reimbursement from FEMA.
No.
No.
We're not counting on that even
No.
for next budget. We included some budget items for COVID-related expenditures, not counting that we're gonna be getting that reimbursement. It would be great if we do it, and we're gonna try, definitely. We're not like giving up, but we're not counting that it's gonna be a sure thing.
Another question, how are we doing as far as the detention center? Are we doing good this year? Because I noticed that,
We're not doing as good as we were 2 years ago, but I think that we're doing a little bit better than what we're doing last year. Numbers are slowly recovering, but I think that they're not at the ideal number that we want them to be.
all right. Thank you, Monica. Thanks. Good job.
Sure. Thank you.
Good evening, Monica. I do have a question, and maybe this might be for Angelica as well. The position for the senior center, is this a new position or?
That position was requested by Louis, I believe upon Councilmember Ponce's input. I believe Angelica might be able to give more details of what the position does and how it's important for the department.
Monica, I have a question. When is the budget due?
The budget, when is it due? Well, we're gonna have, we are scheduling the public hearing on June 23rd, and we wanna have it adopted after that day if possible.
Claro. Mhm.
Ideally, we would like to have it adopted before the beginning of the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So would this just be a new position added to the senior center, or is it a conversion? How is this gonna work?
It was a part-time position, so it was recommended to be a full-time position.
Okay. Thank you, Angelica.
Question? Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
I-
I move to approve. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to show the last slide because I really want to thank everyone that participated in the budget process. I just want to say thank you. And I just put that quote because I really believe that that is true, that if we work together, wonderful things can be achieved. I just
Thank
want to
you,
say
Monica.
thank you to all of you, department heads, my staff. Everybody worked very hard to
Thank you, Monica.
do that.
Thank you.
I want to entertain a motion.
I move to approve the tentative budget for the fiscal year 2021, 2022 as presented.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Gracias, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia.
We're going to go with item number 5G, discussion of possible action on matters regarding request to purchase a large volume of water meters and MXUs from Dana Kepner Company due to the shortage of supplies and the increased lead times for product. George Perez?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, staff, and the public. Like you read it on the agenda item title, this is a request for approval to purchase a large volume of water meters and MXUs, which are the antennas that we use that goes along with the water meter to be ran. So we're here requesting a purchase that will supply us of water meters for a full year, based on the usage of meters that we have been getting from the previous years. And the request or the reason for this request, is that last month we got a notice from Census, which is the manufacturer of the water meters that we use, on shortage on parts that they use to produce the water meters and the MXUs. A week after that, we got another notice from Dana Kemner, which is our local distributor, with the notice of 22 weeks of wait time to get meters. So we have some in stock. We have about 120 meters now. We averagely use about 40 a month, but there's months in which we use more, others in which we use less. So we decided to move forward with the request to purchase a large volume of meters, enough to last a full year based on what we've been using. The request is in the amount of $177,026.65. And we're actually asking council, to waive the formal purchasing code as allowed on the City of San Luis City Code Section 3.05.010H. And we're actually also requesting to transfer funds from the water CIP account in the amount of $130,000 to the minor tools, equipment, supplies, and $47,000 from the salaries from that same fund to complete the purchase of these water meters.
Thank you, George. I mean, if we only have just above 100 meters disposable at this time, this is a very smart investment. What's the total number of meters? Close to 500?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We requested 504 meters, and this is only the size for a residential. We also order antennas and larger meters that we use for commercial developments.
If we purchase them, if they have to be reprogrammed or be recalibrated by the company, they'll do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to come as we request them on the programming that we need.
Okay.
and also I've been in touch with our local distributor here from Arizona, and they got some in stock that we can manage to obtain in the event that we run off, or before we run off the ones we have here in stock.
No, very good. George, I commend you. Thank you. I have no more questions. Anyone has questions, concerns? If not, I will now take a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the purchase of the water meter in the amount of $177.26.65. And I move to waive formal purchasing procedures and transfer funds as presented.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Item number 5H, discussion and possible action on matters regarding subdivision case number 2021-0308F. A request by ADS Engineering and Company on behalf of the owner for the final plat approval for Valencia Hills subdivision. The property is located north of County 22nd Street and in alignment with Quintero Avenue. Jose? Is it Valencia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So this item is a request by Dias Engineering on behalf of Salmos 127-1 LLC, the current owner, for the approval of the final plat for Valencia's Hills subdivision. So this subdivision consists of 10.51 acres to be divided into 18 lots and one tract for the retention. And the minimum lot size are 20,000 square feet. And this subdivision is proposed to be a gated community. A development agreement for this project was approved by City Council on May 26, 2021 by resolution number 2180. And the copy of the agreement is attached to the report, including all the conditions. This item was also presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval. So staff is recommending approval of the final plat with the condition that the applicant addresses comments on the letter dated June 3, 2021. The applicant already submitted revised plans and are still under review by staff.
What was the date of the letter? What was the date?
June 3rd.
So are you still reviewing the comments?
Yeah. So the condition is for them to address the letter dated June 3rd. So most of those conditions were part of the Planning and Zoning Commission comments. Since I haven't received comments from all the departments, I updated the letter with the comments that I have received. So that's June 3rd. So it will address all the comments pending.
Will any of those comments interfere or interact with the approval of this plat?
No. And I sent the comments to the engineer, and they agree with all the comments.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any questions or concerns from council? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve subdivision case number 2021-0308F with the condition that the applicant addresses comments on the letter dated June 3rd, 2021.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Item number, let's see here, 5I. Discussion possible action on matters regarding subdivision case number 2021-0181F. A request with Vega and Vega Engineering PLC on the behalf of Sam Group Investment Company, owner for the final plat approval for Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision. The property is located in the southeast corner of 20th Avenue and San Antonio Street. Jose?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, this is a request for the final plat approval for Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision. This subdivision, it's approximately 18.44 acres, and it will be divided into 87 lots and one track for stormwater retention. The minimum lot size allowed in this subdivision is 6,000 square feet. This item was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval. Staff is recommending approval with the condition that the applicant addresses review comment letter dated May 7, 2021. The applicant submitted revised plans addressing the comments and are under review by city staff. The applicant agree with all the comments except for the requirement of a traffic study, and the engineer is part of the meeting if he can elaborate a little bit more on their concern.
So all comments were addressed, and they were evaluated by staff?
The applicant agree with all the conditions
Okay.
on the review comments, except for the traffic study.
Why is that? I mean, why did not accept the traffic study?
So this subdivision is part of the properties that will be contributing to the signal of 24th Avenue, County 24th Street and Avenue E. So as part of the condition, they have to pay $260 per acre. So they're saying that if they're already contributing to the light, why they will have to do a traffic study.
Did they have to do one for BSI one, a traffic study?
I don't,
Mr. Vera?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. So I believe a traffic study was submitted for Phase 1, Belleza del Desierto. I think back then, for that one, we considered that it was less than the 100 trips that are sort of as a recommendation for traffic studies. So on this phase, second phase, is really a continuation of Phase 1, so it would exceed the 100 trips per day or per hour on a peak hour, any given day. I would be interested to hear from the engineer, see what's the reasoning behind not wanting to do a traffic study. I think it's 87 lots, so by itself, I think if it was only Phase 1, it would be okay, but I mean, being a second phase of a 20-acre or close to a 20-acre development, you know, it's to the best interest of the city to see what the traffic study shows and whether the access points to the subdivision are accurate. I understand that one of the conditions is that they have to contribute to the traffic signal on Avenue E and County 24th Street. But separate from that, it's important for us to see that they have adequate access to the actual development.
So you're recommending a traffic study?
I would be, can you ask the question again, Mayor?
So you're recommending a traffic study?
I recommend them demonstrating that a traffic study is not needed.
Okay.
And we have our standard number 2-100, and our standards sort of provides the base guideline for where the traffic study is required. If they show that the access points are adequate and the signal is enough, you know, and nothing else is going to be needed, a traffic study is not needed, and maybe a traffic statement might be sufficient. But not doing anything, I think, at this point wouldn't be. I wouldn't agree with.
We've been asking for traffic studies for the past, I don't remember how many years, but I don't know why this developer is saying that it's not needed. Yes, I would like to see something that says that, and we follow it.
So I would be interested in hearing from the engineer, see what, and we can, I mean, we're here to help them, and then we can work together on whatever is best for the development.
hear it?
Mr. Vega?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this item. We had the opportunity to respond to the comment letter that was mentioned for conditions of the approval dated May 7th. Our submittal was back on May 20th, responding all the comments, and the only comment that we were not in agreement was that comment for the requirement of the traffic study. Back on the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we discussed the same item, and staff was not requiring. They were talking about the ultimate decision is from council if the traffic study is required or not. The reason behind not being in agreement with the condition is because this project has access off of the main access is off of 24th Street, and 24th Street is developed to full width section road. There's a turn lanes, existing turn lanes already. There's two eastbound, westbound lanes, and that is already built. And this was built on phase 1. And then there is the full construction of that 24th Street intersection. Coming down into 24th Street, in our project, we are developing the full width midsection line that is going to come and access our project. So again, we got turn lanes proposed already. We got the northbound, southbound with turn lanes. So any traffic study that is going to come in, and then in top of that, we're contributing to the traffic study, not to the traffic study, sorry, to the traffic signal that is going to be installed on County 24th Street and Avenue E. Any other, we don't feel that there's any other improvements that a traffic study is going to require in addition to what is already there and what we're proposing to build. The major requirement will be the traffic signal. They will be triggered because of the trips that is going to be generated from this project, and it's already to be. The city is already working on collecting all these contributions, so then they can perform the original study to see when that traffic signal is going to be required, and we're paying our fair share to that traffic signal. So we don't feel that there's any additional requirements that are going to be needed to prove that we have the proper access to the property of 24th Street, and that's why we just feel that there's no need for that traffic impact study. On the other hand, also there's been several projects developed on this area that have not been required to provide a traffic study. So we just feel that there's really all the improvements are there already to provide the accurate access to the project, and where contribution is going to be there for the traffic signal. So that is our reasoning. And I'll be more than glad to answer any questions that council members might have.
Okay. I have a quick question. This is for Mr. Vera. What do they require for someone by either an engineer, another firm that says a traffic study is not indicated? And my second question is, how many of those subdivisions have not had traffic studies done?
Starting with the first question, so he can. There's an option to do a traffic impact statement also, not necessarily a full study.
Yeah.
I agree with some of the points that he's mentioning, but then again, so for example, if Bienestar 11, I think it's to the west of this development. If that was to not move forward, Belleza 1, Belleza 2 would only have a single access over to 24, to County 24th Street, because there's nothing to the south or to the to the east. So, you know, he described what his opinion is right now in council meeting. But I think showing an impact statement or demonstrating what those routes are exiting or accessing this development would be an option, and he can reference the Institute of Transportation Engineers, and that's usually the reference that most traffic studies use. And that would be sufficient for staff, or at least from my end, for justifying what's needed or not needed. Regarding the second question, how many others don't have it?
Actually, didn't actually, he mentioned that there were several that didn't do this traffic study, and that's the reason why they should either do a traffic study themselves.
He's the same engineer that he's doing developments for Comité, so I'm thinking that maybe Bienestar 11 didn't require one, and I believe that one by itself is also less than, that's like phase 1 of Belleza.
Yeah.
So it's half of the 48, so it's only less than 20 acres. And then on Bienestar 10, that's also another one that I'm not sure we require, but it probably not. But that's at the intersection of Avenue, County 24th Street and Avenue F. So with that, they do have the 2 access points to County 24th Street. They did widen and added turn lanes on County 24th Street and Avenue F. So really, the only thing additional that I could see from a traffic study on that one would be like a signal. And for that size development, we didn't think a full signal would be fair for that one single development. So on my end, that's my reasoning why I didn't require it on that one
On that one.
specifically.
Okay. Did staff put a comment regarding requiring a statement, a traffic statement or a traffic study? Or is staff agreeing with that there is no need for a traffic study?
So from plan and zoning part, after ordinance, I think 392 that was approved back in July 2019, we have requested and added this condition to every new subdivision. Once it gets reviewed by Public Works, whether or not it's required, that's when it's determined.
There's another development that we, or the council approved recently, and it's a small development, less than, it's Palencia Hills. So the developer or the engineer sort of proposed something different, and we have accepted the statement versus the full traffic study in other occasions as well.
Okay. To this final approval that we're talking right now, did staff add a comment regarding a safety, a traffic study?
Yes, as part of the review comments, it was added that they require a traffic study.
Okay. Or statement?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, I just want to state that we've been asking other developers for a traffic study, and I think they haven't had any problem doing that. Yes, we've been fighting for it, and they've been fighting back, but I think it's needed for this community because that's the only way that we can control that traffic that we have in San Luis, and it's just easy to say and come and develop in this community, but we are the ones that suffer the consequences with the traffic, and that's why we brought it up. I just want to mention that.
No. So noted, Mario Deveres. Thank you. Anyone else? So in the requirement, in the final plat approval, there is a request by staff for a traffic study?
Yes, with the motion as shown and the recommendation is a condition for the traffic study.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, Mayor?
Yes, Elizabeth?
hi, good evening. I would just like to say that when we did Belize 1, that's when we came to the agreement that we would pay towards the traffic light in lieu of, and it was always my understanding that that was going to be in lieu of a traffic study, because That's what, if you'll go back a couple years ago, or I don't know, maybe it was 3 years ago, that's what the agreement was that we would pay, per acre on that area towards the traffic light. And I noticed that last night in the planning, I don't know what happened because I didn't listen in on it, but in the planning and zoning meeting last night, the subdivision that's just below Beliza 2 was brought up before planning and zoning, and on their agenda item, I did not see anything on their conditions that they required a traffic study. It just said that they had to pay the $260 in per acre towards the light.
Mr. Vera, do you?
So the items that Ms. Carpenter is mentioning, those are for a minor amendment and a rezoning, not a subdivision process yet. And regardless, if we add it as a condition on the final plat approval, the traffic study is a requirement set by City Council back in 2019.
And I just want to add something regarding the, I believe, $260 that per acre that's being added. Back then, when that original signal was brought up, it was actually twice that amount that developers needed to pay per acre. So it was agreed that that amount was going to be reduced and that the city was going to come back and do a traffic study for that County 24th Street corridor all the way to 10th Avenue. So we will be doing that. The city will be doing that in the future. But I just want to reiterate the traffic study or traffic analysis with a traffic impact statement for the development is specific to the development. We just want to make sure that it has proper access, make sure that, for example, if the development of BNSR 11 didn't go through and it just fell through tomorrow and didn't get built, this development, BNSR 2, Belleza 2 would only have access, to the north, nothing to the west, nothing to the east. So we want to just make sure that the access points per development are covered.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, please.
Just we just talked about developments on the south side. I would like to know if anything on the developments on the north side required to have a traffic study or a traffic statement. There is a development, there are over the 100 trips, they generated 100 trips on the north side. I would like to know if those were required, those developments were required to have that. And the condition reads a traffic study. It doesn't give the option to a statement. So if that's an option, we would like for that condition to be modified. So then give us the option to provide that statement. So I would like to comment on that.
Yeah, we definitely need to modify that statement and initially add if they can do a statement or what you were talking about. But Mr. Vera, you were going to answer the question.
Yeah, I just want to so to his question, on the north, the traffic study was conducted. The study actually analyzed all the way to the intersection of Avenue F and County 23rd Street. And actually it required that connection to the east that connects to Avenue E along 23 and a half. That was the additional access point that was pretty much recommended from the study based on the developments and the amounts of houses that were added on the north side of County 24th Street.
We can talk about this all night, and the thing is, I think we should add the comment to the original one that was added that the traffic study was needed. We definitely need a statement. We definitely need guarantee that the traffic will not be affected. Too many factors. Avenue F, that subdivision is saturated with vehicles. And the thing is, we cannot, the city, we would have to budget all kinds of money because one, the congestion that occurs every single evening and every single morning, it's only getting worse. And one of the reasons that the traffic study was required was because with the construction of the subdivision next to the high school, we see the traffic that occurs in the morning, we see the traffic that occurs in the evening. Now we're seeing the same kind of traffic occur in Avenue F, in that region, in that area, in the morning and in the evening. We've had accidents. And so that's why council is very crucial about traffic studies. We're going to be very specific for any future development in regards to traffic study. And if a traffic study was not done prior, that it's already been there, well, the situation is only getting worse. It's not getting any better. So we need a statement by the developer that says we don't need, or a traffic study is not justifiable. The city will continue to require, by ordinance, a traffic study to every single development that comes to the city of San Luis. And that's no exceptions. And so council was very firm when we said we were going to add a traffic study. And plus, the Planning and Zoning Committee should be enforcing that. Also, it's a requirement. So either that or a statement that will help the developer. We're not anti-development, but the traffic situation in the city of San Luis is becoming dire. Once we have those 16, 17 lanes northbound coming to the U.S. from Mexico, it's a different story. It's a different ballgame. So we really need to look at our traffic study, our traffic situation that's going on right now. And so we need to add that statement. And thank you, Mario, for commenting that, because there was a fact. We're not going to yield from a traffic study. Every subdivision nowadays interacts, it affects our traffic directly. And so in that area, it's only going to get worse. So, Mr. Vega, would you be okay with the statement added to the requirement?
Yes, please.
Okay. Any questions from council, concerns?
No, I'm okay.
If not, I will now entertain a motion with the modification. Kay, could you clarify that for us, please?
I'll put it on there.
So the motion would be that you want to accept the statement, or just the
Mayor, if I
traffic
may.
study?
Okay, let's see here. Matias?
I move to approve subdivision case number 2021-0181F with the condition that the applicant address review comments on the letter dated May 7, 2021, with the addition of the option of a traffic statement if approved by staff.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Mr. Vega. Item number 5J, right, Sonia? Discussion and possible action on all matters regarding resolution number 2181, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, creating a street lighting improvement district and declaring its intention to purchase electricity and maintain poles, luminaries, and underground conduit, together with the charge for use of lighting facilities for light public streets within the area described as Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Mr. Jose Guzman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So as a requirement of the subdivision regulations, a street lighting improvement district is required for any new subdivision. This resolution is of intention to create the Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 street lighting improvement district.
This is just basically maintenance and cleaning up what's required. Any comments, questions from council? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, move to approve and adopt resolution number 2181.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Item number 5K, discussion and possible action on all matters regarding resolution 2182, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, declaring its intention to provide the enhancement municipal services of operating, maintenance, and improving certain retention basins serving the area described as Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Mr. Jose Guzman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, this is a improvement district for the maintenance of retention basins, and this is the resolution to create a district for Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision.
This is basically cleaning up and making sure that we have all our, let's see here, maintenance and landscaping improvements. Any questions from council, concerns? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, move to approve and adopt resolution number 2182.
Second.
There's a, Okay, motion, a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Item number 5L, Sonia? Okay. Discussion and possible action on matters regarding Resolution 2183, a resolution of the Mayor City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, declaring its intention of operating, maintaining, repairing, and improving certain landscape improvements included within, near, and adjacent to the retention and detention basins and parking and parkways and related facilities, together with appurtenant structures serving the area described as La Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Jose Guzman?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, so this is the third district required by the subdivision regulations for the maintenance of landscape improvements. After the approval of this resolution, a second resolution ordering the improvements is needed to finalize the formation of the improvement districts.
Thank you. Jose. Any questions or concerns of council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve and adopt resolution number 2185.
Second.
83 or 85?
Okay, it's 83.
83.
Okay, for clarification, the motion was for approval of resolution number 2183, and there was a second. All's in favor?
Aye.
All's against? Motion carries. Item number 5M, discussion and possible action on matters regarding resolution number 2184, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, authorizing and directing the city engineer to order the purchase of electricity and/or to order the maintenance of poles, luminaries, and underground conduit for installation of street lights for lighting public streets, serving the area described as Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Mr. Jose Guzman?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, once a resolution creating an improvement district is approved, a second resolution authorizing work and approving the implementation of the district is required. This is the resolution implementing Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 Street Lighting Improvement District.
I do have any questions or comments from council? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
I move
Mayor.
to approve and adopt resolution number 2184.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All's in favor?
Aye.
All's against? Motion carries. Item number 5N, discussion and possible action on matters regarding resolution 2185, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of San Luis, Arizona, authorizing and directing the city engineer to order operation and maintenance of certain retention basins for the area described as Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Jose Guzman?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, this resolution is for the implementation of Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 in his municipal improvement district.
I have no further questions. Does any council member have a comment, question, or concern? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve and adopt resolution number 2185.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All is in favor?
Aye.
All is against? Motion carries. 5-0, discussion and possible action on matters regarding resolution number 2186, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, authorizing and ordering the operation, maintenance, and repair of certain landscape improvements included within, near, and adjacent to the retention and detention basins, parking, parkways, and related facilities, together with appurtenant structures serving the area described as Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 subdivision, San Luis, Arizona. Mr. Jose Guzman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, this is the resolution implementing the Belleza del Desierto Phase 2 Landscape Improvement District.
I have no questions or concerns. Any council member questions or concerns? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve and adopt resolution number 2186.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All is in favor?
Aye.
All is against? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jose Guzman. Item number 5P, public hearing followed by discussion and possible action in all matters regarding text amendment case number 2021-0293 and ordinance number 417, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Arizona for amending Chapter 18 zoning regulations, sections 18.30.020E7 and 18.30.030E6 of the San Luis City Code to change the requirements for covered parking on multiple residential zoning districts. I will now entertain a motion to open public hearing.
So move, Mayor.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Now, this is time for, this is open to the public for hearing. Mr. Jose Guzman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, this item was presented to City Council during the work session of April. So the current regulations require that all parking spaces for multiple residence buildings have to be covered. Staff believes this requirement is too restrictive and is proposing this amendment. The amendment is not a reduction of the required parking spaces, but a reduction in the required covered parking spaces. This item was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval of this text amendment. Staff is recommending approval of the text amendment in ordinance number 417. The change in the regulations will help us continue being development friendly.
I have no further questions. Council, does any comments, questions, or concerns from council? Nope. Sonia, did we receive?
Mayor, the city clerk's office did not receive any comments regarding this item,
Okay.
nor any speaker request form for people here present
For that particular item?
for this particular item.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will now entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So move.
There's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. I will now entertain a motion.
I move to approve the reading of ordinance number 417 by title only.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries.
Ordinance number 417, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of San Luis, Arizona, amending chapter 18 zoning regulations, section 18.30.020E7 and 18.30.030E6 of the San Luis City Code to change the requirements for covered parking on multiple residential zoning districts, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for severability.
I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve and adopt ordinance number 417.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, Jose. Now, summary of current events. Events by mayor, city council members, and/or city manager present to ARS 38-431.02K. Over the past couple of days, I've had meetings with multiple agencies and that are dealing with the port of entry and trying to get the funding for the port of entry. It appears that there's a possibility that the cost of the port has actually gone up, maybe like 20%. So if we were lacking over 90 million to be added to the 152 million that we have already for the port of entry, there's a possibility it might actually go up to 100 million that we're looking for. So it's a work in progress. We are working with our congressional delegation in DC, and also the governor's office, and also ADOT, and also we're also working with the multiple agencies in Mexico because of the current election. Hopefully we'll expedite and hopefully we could start constructing. But once the studies are all done for the Mexican side, we can proceed with the addition and the restructuring, and hopefully get a better situation, a better grasp of our traffic situation that is going to Mexico and coming from Mexico. So there's a lot of agencies taking part. There's a lot of discussion. Because of the pandemic, everything was basically hold or stopped and at a standstill, but things are coming up again, but things coming up again are more expensive to construct. So it's a work in progress. Both the U.S. and Mexican government will be exchanging notes, and we will be working. It's going to be a lot of meetings, and we want to make sure because we get started because the funding is already there. There's already discussion of possibly moving some of that funding, but it was already budgeted. So hopefully with the proposed budget, the $3 billion in infrastructure and assistance remains for ports of entry. And hopefully that will be clearly defined by our senators and representatives in Congress. And so hopefully we should be getting good news pretty soon in regards to NADBank and approving and assistance in the required studies required by the Mexican side. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, actually, in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll share good news. And once those studies are done or completed, we can actually finish our design in the U.S. and hopefully get started quick. So, but when I say quick, we're talking about 2 or 3 years for the construction to begin, and it's probably that time for it to finish. So, but the different agencies are waiting. ADOT is one of them, and I'm very grateful for ADOT and what they're doing and the Office of the Governor also. So they're very, they're taking notes. So thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Matias, for assisting me in some of those meetings. And it's just going to get busier for everyone. So thank you. That's my report. Vice Mayor?
Mayor, yesterday I attended the Library Board of Trustees meeting. They're finalizing their budget, and included in their budget for San Luis, they're going to replace the air conditioning units. They also received a grant for a traveling Holocaust museum. They were one of the few libraries in the country to be awarded that grant, and that's in the next couple of months. They're thinking maybe November. So that's going to be something really good for the community and educational as well. So they're fully reopened. They are back to all their events, all their programs, and they reported that San Luis had the highest numbers for the program that they offer for the adult English learner. So San Luis is the community is doing well with attending the events and stuff.
Very good.
That was very positive.
Our community continues using those
The
programs,
resources that are available, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are free of cost, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else from council? From staff? If not, we're going to go with call to the public. This is a time for the public for comment. Let's see here. Members of City Council may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on this agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Sonia, did we get a request?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, yes, there is one request, and it's from Gary Snyder.
Mr. Gary?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good.
Vice Mayor, City Council members, City Manager, and City Attorney. This question is towards Sonia, or possibly Kathy. I wanted to find out what it would deem a City Council member or possibly a mayor to lose their seat. What kind of criminal act would take them off or render their position?
I'd have to study that question. This is a time for public comment, not for questions.
It's a public. I'm challenging the integrity of oath of office and elected official that I want the City Council and the mayor to check on and find out on a later date. I have a public audio that I'll play for you.
Al sheriff y al attorney general. Uno no está impuesto a esas cosas. Llegaron dos sheriffs y luego llegó el attorney y pues que me tenían, que había como algo en contra mía y que necesitaban tomarme mis huellas. Le dije, pero ¿por qué? Le dije, hace 2 semanas me las tomé el departamento de policía para la iglesia. Le dije, de ahí ustedes son la ley, ustedes las pueden sacar sacar de donde quiera. No, dijo, pero estas son específicamente. Le dije, no, le dije, pues, dije, yo voy ahorita. Dijo, no, dijo, y si te niegas te podemos llevar, pues con orden, pues me traían una orden del juez. Tenemos para, hay una queja en contra de ti y queremos tomarte tus huellas. Entonces le digo yo, ¿hasta dónde podemos llegar?
So this is a public audio that I got from public records over here. Here at the police department, actually, Lieutenant Santana was the receiving officer. So the question I have here is the integrity of oath, as everyone's taken, as the law. Obviously, right now, there's nothing pending, but for Attorney General and a sheriff to come down and check someone's fingerprints, I just recommend as the mayor, vice mayor, the rest of the city council, and city attorney to keep pendiente, because San Luis is already known with the issue of one of the people here from San Luis, Javier, has indictments. I'm not saying that she's guilty or not, obviously until a court of law, but it's already a lot of negativity for San Luis, and to bring in an opportunity, a possibility of a further action, I want the city to be ready for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So Kate, make sure we have a legal response.
Yes, just taking fingerprints also eliminates people. It's not necessarily,
We want it in writing, then.
Yeah.
We want it in writing. I don't want to, we want it in writing. We want a legal opinion. Thank you.
yes.
So we had one speaker, that's it?
That was the only speaker.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
There's a motion, there's a second. All is in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All is against? Motion carries. Have a good night. Thank you.